Hi, PerspectiveWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Thursday, February 4th. A lot to talk about. We have an active weather pattern for sure. We want to start off here with kind of a final recap of the early week long duration major storm for the Mid-Atlantic region, the Northeast U.S. in terms of snowfall. This is a map as of late Tuesday night. Not much more fell in the overnight hours going into Wednesday, maybe another inch or two in some spots, but the general idea is here that the bullseye area was from east central Pennsylvania just to the north and west of New York City, then up in the lower Hudson Valley region right here. Many areas it reached 30 inches in this particular bullseye region. Allentown, Pennsylvania, for example, one of their biggest snowstorms ever. It dropped off as you move to the south and east, as is typical with Mid-Atlantic storms in the Mid-Atlantic region. Philadelphia metro region had generally 12 inches plus on the northern half and maybe 6 to 12 inches in the southern half of the region, like southern Chester County. Philadelphia International Airport came in with about 8 inches of snow. And by the way, one interesting rule of thumb that worked again this winter in Philadelphia, if there is a 6-inch snowstorm in December or more, there's a very, very good chance that there'll be another 6-inch plus snowstorm later in the winter season. This happens to be, I believe, about the 12th winter out of 13 where that has happened, that a 6+ inch storm in December is followed by another one later in the winter season. So a pretty good bet. If you get a good snowstorm in December, you'll get a second one January, February, or March. In the D.C. metro region, maybe up to 5 or 6 inches. In some spots, like northwestern D.C., maybe reach 5 inches. Dulles Airport was close to 5 inches, I believe 5.7 inches. Culpeper out farther to the west, 6 or 7 inches, a little bit less to the south and east. And the snow extended all the way up into New England. Well, before we take a look on the storm threat for late in the upcoming weekend, it still cannot be completely written off. There's still some reason for it to be closely monitored with respect to the Mid-Atlantic region and the Northeast U.S. We'll talk about that in a moment. We're going to kind of look longer term here, bigger picture in terms of the temperature pattern. It looks like we have a strong cold front pressing into the eastern U.S. on Friday. It'll have some snow showers, rain showers ahead of it. Turns milder this afternoon and ahead of it on Friday. Then a bit colder over the upcoming weekend. It doesn't look like the full breadth of this colder pattern reaches the Mid-Atlantic region until maybe the middle part of next week. But at that point, it looks like it locks in. It certainly locks in the middle part of the nation, the upper Midwest, the northern plains, places like Montana, even southwestern Canada will be very, very cold. And Chicago, for example, will have an extremely extended, very, very cold stretch, and we'll talk about that in a moment too. But this is a ensemble run of the GFS from last night at 0Z. And what we're looking at are averages over 5-day periods, 850 millibar temperature anomalies. We'll kind of go back and forth with temperatures here in the Mid-Atlantic region over the next several days here, but on average it'll be normal to maybe slightly below normal over this current 5-day period. But let's just move forward and watch what happens. The intensity increases with respect to how cold it is relative to normal over next week, let's say, in the southwestern part of Canada, the northern, much of the northern U.S., across the northern plains, and it just tends to expand slowly to the south and east. And again, there may be another cold frontal system that really brings in the colder air, let's say next Tuesday or so here in the Mid-Atlantic region in the Northeast U.S. But once it arrives, this colder than normal weather pattern really sticks around here for much of the month of February. Keep in mind, ensemble runs tend to kind of smooth out with time because they tend to go towards climatology. So the fact that we're looking 12 to 16 days out here into the middle of February and seeing this kind of cold is very, very impressive. And again, it tends to expand to the south and east, all the way from southwestern Canada, across the northern plains, into the Mid-Atlantic region. And this is the middle part of February, really from February 15th to February 20th. So again, kind of a back and forth pattern of temperatures in the Mid-Atlantic region over the next, let's say, 5 days, but then really locks into a colder pattern, and it will continue to be an active pattern as well with multiple snow threats. Well, in terms of the upcoming cold, just wanted to show this particular map of daily temperatures in Chicago. This is from Weather Bell Analytics, and it's a great way to kind of display the temperature pattern going forward on a daily basis, and it's very, very interesting, very cold stretch here for Chicago. All of these lower numbers represent the minimum temperatures, the low temperatures overnight, and look at the stretch of near zero, or more impressively below zero. I mean, this is just incredible here. Here, below zero temperatures at night, all the way down through this stretch here, going into this period here. Many of the nights going forward will actually feature below 0 degree low temperatures in Chicago. Again, the heart of the cold looks like it'll be the upper Midwest, the northern plains, the interior northwestern part of the U.S., and of course southwestern Canada as well. But this is just very, very cold. The temperatures coming to Chicago, for example, next week and into the following week as well. Well, let's now focus on the upcoming weekend storm threat. Quite interesting in the overnight model runs. I mentioned the other day in a video that the 6Z and the 18Z model runs do not have the latest radiuson data, do not have the latest upper air data, so any kind of a sudden move, let's say at the 6Z model run as compared with the 0Z, take with a grain of salt. Wait for confirmation for the 12Z run, because that's when the fresh radiuson data is implemented into the computer forecast models. Radiuson balloons are still very valuable, not only across this country but around the world, in capturing upper air data. And they're basically launched, these balloons, at various radiuson sites twice a day for the 12Z run and the 0Z run. So those are the most important computer forecast model runs. Now the 6Z GFS last night actually pushes this weekend storm back into the picture for the Mid-Atlantic region and into the Northeast U.S. All other models, let me correct myself, most other models did not do that with the 6Z run. The European model actually backtracked a little bit closer to the coast. So I do give a little bit of credence to this particular 6Z run of the GFS, and we'll kind of talk about why that happened in a moment here. This is the Ensemble run from last night at 6Z, and what we're looking at here are the different members of the Ensemble, the position of that low pressure area. So the Ensemble run is when a slightly different input conditions are implemented into the computer forecast models. One Ensemble run might be a little bit more humid, another a little bit drier, another a little bit colder, another a little bit warmer. And there's over a dozen Ensemble runs, and the spread of the Ensemble forecast gives you an idea of the certainty or uncertainty of an operational run. And the 6Z operational run of the GFS indeed had kind of a shift from the prior run to the pushing this late weekend storm up back into the Mid-Atlantic region. Confirmation did occur with the Ensemble run here. This is fairly interesting here. This definitely gives me some interest in what will come up later this morning with the 12Z run, but multiple Ensemble members had the low pressure area a little bit closer, rather than moving off the southeast coast like that, a little bit farther to the north and west. So in other words, the operational run of the GFS at 6Z has some support from its Ensemble members, and again the 06Z European run actually did a little bit of a push back to the north and west as well. You can also get the snowfall maps from the individual Ensemble runs, and it's something valuable to look at here. This again is the Ensemble run of the GFS from last night, and notice many individual members indeed look like they are very interesting. Snow up and down the I-95 corridor, that particular run. Same thing here. Same thing here, maybe just to the north and west, but interesting here, here, especially this one. That looks very interesting here. So many members of the ensemble certainly raise interest for what happens later today. And by the way, today won't be the final answer either. We'll have to probably wait till tomorrow to get a real good handle on this situation, but definitely something to watch for as we progress through the day today and through the rest of the work week here. Now let's take a look at the upper air pattern from the 6Z model run of the GFS last night and kind of give an explanation as to what happened and what to look for over the next series of runs here over the next 48 hours or so. Finally pushing away with this early week winter storm here, and here comes the strong cold front that arrives in the eastern states late tomorrow night. It slides across the upper part of the Midwest, and indeed we have some snow showers, rain showers, maybe even an inch or two of snow north of the Mason-Dixon line in some higher elevation locations, perhaps even snow showers into the Philadelphia metro region late tonight, early tomorrow, but temperatures do jump to the 40s tomorrow afternoon. Then the cold front passes on through, and it does not have a powerful blast of cold air coming in behind it. It'll turn a bit colder for the upcoming weekend, but I would say moderate cold at best for the upcoming weekend. Then we go into the weekend, and here we go into Saturday morning, and we're talking about a northern stream system and a southern stream system, whether or not they can kind of phase together by the time the latter part of the weekend rolls around. And this is the 6Z model run. Again, keep in mind, this is now 12Z Sunday, the early morning hours of Sunday. And here's the northern stream system, but the southern stream system kind of pushes a little farther to the north compared to prior runs. In fact, let's take a look right here. This is the 0Z run from last night. Kind of a little bit broken apart compared to what happens at 6Z. Notice the difference there, and that is the reason that the 6Z model run actually pushes that storm system back up into the mid-Atlantic region, a little bit sharper over an upper level pattern, a little bit sharper of a wave of energy compared to the prior run. So again, we'll wait and see what happens later today, and especially tonight and tomorrow as well. But then let's move forward here. This is the 6Z run, and it certainly remains active here. There's plenty of energy up across the northern stream, and even as we'll see here going into the next weekend, not this weekend coming up, but the following weekend, this is something we'll have to watch. There's a kind of southern stream activity here, and very interesting signals coming for next weekend, the 13th and 14th of February, Valentine's Day. There very well could be a system that comes out of the Gulf of Mexico, makes an attempt to come up to the up the coast. So that's more than a week away, something we'll keep an eye on. Well, what did the 6Z model run do from last night's GFS operational run here? This is the one model solution that did bring up the system on Sunday. We'll see. This is a cold frontal system on Friday that does produce some rain and snow showers. And then here we go, going into the upcoming weekend, we have a lot of moisture. There will be a lot of moisture no matter how far north it goes that will gather around the Gulf of Mexico early in the upcoming week. And then by Sunday morning, here's strong low pressure off the southeast coastline. Again, this particular model run brings it to the north and east, and brings some rain across areas south and east of I-95, and maybe some snow to the north and west. If it does indeed impact the mid-Atlantic region late in the upcoming weekend, it's no guarantee it will be snow in places like D.C. or Philadelphia or even New York City. The cold will be marginal, borderline situation, but this is something we'll watch for later today, and then again in the overnight hours tonight, going into the day on Friday. And we move forward here, and could be another system here, maybe another cold frontal system moving into the eastern states by, let's say, Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, and that may usher in a more sustained period of cold for the Mid-Atlantic region, let's say starting from the middle of next week on. Very, very cold air upstream here across the upper Midwest, places like Chicago and Minneapolis and the Dakotas, Montana. Very, very, very cold pattern setting up, and it will be sustained. Look at this. The 1056 millibar high by latter part of the upcoming week. We're talking a week away now. That is a brutal cold air mass, at least for the northern plains and the upper Midwest, and it will be extending into the Mid-Atlantic region, certainly by the latter part of next week. Then the southern stream really becomes of interest here. It gathers a lot of moisture by the end of next week, and something very well could pull out of the Gulf states and ride up the eastern seaboard. Let's say next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're talking the 12th, 13th, and 14th. Watch out for that time frame. Certainly of interest here. Too far away now, of course, to have any kind of details. But what's interesting is that the southern branch really gets activated here. And that is where you can end up with a type of storm that pulls out of the Gulf of Mexico and rides up along the eastern seaboard. We haven't had that so far this winter. Well, that's it for now. A lot going on. We'll update you later today on the Perspective Weather website here. Go to perspectiveweather.com for an update on the potential threat later this week, and certainly the impending cold coming later next week. That's it for now. I'm meteorologist Paul Orion for perspectiveweather.com.